Hey, hello. I wanted to record a few videos about the spiritual world. And actually, what I want to do is I want to share my testimony in some of these areas and show and just tell you how I've learned about these things, how I've managed in these situations. And hopefully, you can get an insight in how the devil can try and trick you in your life, and just so that you can see how the spiritual world works, and hopefully you can identify his schemes and his plans, because they're all stupid and he uses the same ones over and over again. But I want to give you a little bit of an insight, and I want to tell you a testimony of mine, and it's about my children. I have little children. Well, they're not that little anymore, but almost 4 and 7. And we had a situation at one stage where it was very difficult just to manage the kids. And I'm quite a strong person, but it was still incredibly difficult for me to manage. And actually, my husband and I, at one stage, we just had our hands in our hair and we didn't know what to do anymore. And what happened was, obviously, you speak to people and you tell people that it's bad and it's hectic and it's crazy, but people say, yeah, kids, educating your kids, it's difficult, it's challenging, and you never know, because I've got 2, and you think, is this normal, is this not normal, I don't know, it's a personality thing. Somewhere I knew that it wasn't normal, and the worse and worse it got, the more I knew there's something off. There's something off. So I started praying and asking God to open my eyes to let me see what's going on. So I'll tell you a little bit about what was happening. My little one was taking more and more control in the house, and everything started to revolve around her. So at the beginning, it was small things, and you would think, oh, okay, she's going to scream if I do that, so I'm just going to do it in a different way. And at the beginning, it's smart, because you think, oh, she wants a sweet, I'm going to distract her with a rice cake, that's fine, instead of saying, no, you can't get a sweet, and then blah. So we all do it at some stage. So that's kind of how it started, but it just escalated to a point where we just wanted to avoid tantrums. And we still had them, but she kept on becoming more and more stubborn, in the sense that we would say, oh, we're gonna go and have coffee together with everybody, and then she would be like, I don't want to go. And then you think, what young kid doesn't want to go out and have fun? And she is that kind of kid. So obviously, if she was very, very introverted and she doesn't like going places, I get that. But she is that kid that likes to do things. And then she would be very stubborn, and suddenly would say, oh, I don't want to do that. Or when my eldest would be watching TV, she would just switch the TV off, or she would be very intentional and trying to create conflict. And we've tried the putting on the stairs and the this and the that, and she would be hysterical. Sometimes she would scream so much that you think she's not going to breathe. And you think, okay, maybe it's just normal 2-year-old tantrums, 3-year-old tantrums. But it got worse and worse. And it got to the stage where actually, when she needed to go to sleep, because that's when it was, when you actually saw it the most, she started saying, no, I just want to play another 1 minute. And then you'd be like, okay, that's fine. Have your minute. And when the minute's done, we're going to go. And at the beginning, it was fine. The minute it was done, she went. And then she started saying, oh, I just want to have a rice cake before I go to bed. And then you're like, okay, well, that's fine. Have something to drink, have a rice cake, eat your rice cake, and we go. And daddy puts you in bed, and it's fine. So that's how it started, and it was fine. And then it was like, okay, you have another minute to play, and then the minute would be over, and she's like, no, but I want another minute. And then I'm like, okay, okay, you can have another minute. But then another minute became another minute, became another 2 minutes, became another 3 minutes, and then you're 20 minutes further and you think, okay, we have to move this whole thing up now in half an hour because you're going to have this 20 minutes, 1 minute play story. Which I thought, oh, we can deal with. But it was over such a long period of time that you don't realize how crazy it's getting. And because you don't know any better as a parent, sometimes you just keep on going. So, okay, so it was 1 minute, it was 2 minutes, it was 3 minutes, it was another rice cake, it was an apple, it was a this, it was a that, it was a drink. And then you have these like 8 things that needed to happen before she could go to sleep. And then you go upstairs and then she says, I want mommy to put me in bed. And then my husband would be like, oh, okay, well, I'll call mommy. So then mommy comes and then I'd put her in bed. But then it got worse and worse. And it escalated in about 3 weeks' time, seriously, that after another minute, another 2 minutes, another 3 minutes, another this minute, another rice cake, another thing, it just went on. It was like, no, mommy must do me in bed. So then I go upstairs. And then after 5 minutes, she'd be like, no, daddy must do it. And then my husband goes upstairs. And then at 5 minutes, oh, mommy must do it. So, that was irritating. And actually, it got really, at that stage, I was like, okay, something's wrong. This is like, she's actually starting to change the atmosphere in the house, and it's a problem. So I started praying, and I said, okay, God, please, will you show me what's going on here? And it got really bad. And one night I was lying in bed, and I was just praying, and I said to myself, you have the grace to educate your children. And then I thought, why do I think that I don't? Why am I telling myself this? Why do I think that I don't have the grace to educate my children? And then suddenly my eyes opened and I realized that I'm actually believing that I cannot do it. I'm actually believing the lie, I cannot educate, I cannot raise my kids. And because of that, I've actually allowed helplessness to come in because I feel completely helpless, because I actually I have started believing that I cannot raise my kids. And because of that, because of the lie that I'm believing, I let go of the spiritual control that I have in the house, saying I'm helpless. And my youngest has picked up the control in the spirit. So whatever is working through her, which I have allowed because I said to myself, I've thought I'm helpless. I do not know anymore and I'm defeated. So with me, there's a spirit of helplessness that came in, hopelessness, a spirit of defeat. And because of that, I opened the door and my daughter started taking control or power in the house. And actually, she was controlling it. And when I saw that, I thought, whoa, this is crazy. So I was thinking, how is this going to work? I need to repent of believing this lie. So I repented, say, I repent that I believe that I'm hopeless in the situation and I'm not in control and I can't do this. And that I feel defeated. And then I rebuked everything that needed to go, that is causing me to feel that way and has come in and that I have allowed in my house because I started believing that lie. And so I did that in the spiritual, and then I was like, okay, how is this going to affect in the natural? So I prayed with my husband, and it was actually quite amazing, because as soon as I did that, I got home the next day, and my daughter was different, because I thought, well, I'm going to fight this thing in the spiritual. I'm actually just going to turn it around because there's no fight. I've got the authority. I just have to take the authority, which I didn't. Because I believed a lie and didn't realize it. Crazy. And so I took the responsibility. I took authority in my house again. And because of that, spiritually, I put myself at the right place again, or me and my husband at the right place in our house. And my little one needs to come under that, because I realized my eldest is not really the problem. And because I did that, suddenly in the natural, it just manifested. You could just see that change that happened in the spiritual just happened in the natural. I didn't have to fight her. I didn't have to do anything. She just calmed down. We had a few situations after that. I think the first night she went to bed without a problem. No up and downs, I need to eat, blah, 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 nothing. I think at night 3, she said no. I said to her, who will put you in bed? And she said, okay, mommy needs to put me in bed. And then we went upstairs, and then she said, no, I want daddy. And then I was like, no, we're not going to do this. You said, mommy, I will put you in bed. And then she started screaming. And then because I don't feel helpless anymore, and because I feel in control, I'm not going to get angry. I'm not going to get irritated. And before, I didn't know why she was crying. I didn't know. I was just like, I need to stop this crying. Why are you not listening to me? Why are you being this way? I'm thinking. And I was very frustrated and struggled to just sit there with her, because I was thinking, why can I not solve this? Why is this so difficult? What am I doing wrong? But now I can just sit next to her and I could say, Emmy, you know what? Daddy's not coming. And it's not because he doesn't love you. It's because we decided that I'm putting you in bed. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to stay here and I'm going to be with you. But I'm not going to ask Daddy to come upstairs, because this is what we discussed. And I just sat there and she cried and I just rubbed her back, and I was calm and I was happy. And at some stage she felt completely defeated and she crawled onto my lap and she fell asleep in my arms. And I think we had 2 of those situations. And I can't explain to you how the situation changed. And that week, that first night I got home, she came to sit on my lap, something which she doesn't often do. She put her hands around my neck, just wanted to hold me the entire evening, which is very strange for my little one, because she's very busy. But it's suddenly she just felt it. She felt like she realized it. She obviously doesn't know, but she felt the difference in the spirit, that I'm the authority. I'm where the safe place is. And I took that. And because I took that authority in our house, she could come into her safe place again, because she didn't need to rule in the house and take the authority. And that thing that worked through her couldn't do that anymore, because I'm now protecting her, and I closed all the doors by repenting and turning the situation around. And it's so amazing to see how just by switching something in the natural, in the spiritual, it has to happen. It has to be visible in the natural. And I've become convinced that if something in a situation, a church, organization, when something is not working, if something's not going well, if things are happening in the natural, which should not be happening, then we should be looking at the leadership. We should be looking at the person who has the authority and saying, what's going on there? It's not always the case, of course, but we have to look in the spiritual and say, okay, what is happening? What is happening in this situation? And why is this causing this natural effect? So that is a testimony that I wanted to share with you guys. I hope you could follow that, because it's quite complex if you're not used to those kinds of things. But it's very important that we take authority and responsibility in our own homes, and know that God has given you the grace to raise your kids, and that you never have to feel helpless in these situations, and that you know that you have the authority, and that you can sit there and rest and in His love, and just no matter what your child thinks, says, or screams, that you can just sit there and be at peace in yourself, because you know what's happening, and you know that you can comfort them and just be there, and you don't have to be insecure in yourself. So I wanted to share that. I know it's maybe a strange concept to people, like, oh, how could this happen? Spiritual authority and in my house, and that gets to my kids. And so if you have questions, just post them at the bottom, and I can do an extra post, or I can answer your questions. But it's very important that if you think in your house that something's not going as it's supposed to go, that you ask God to let you see in the spirit, or in the spiritual realm, what is happening, or tell you what is happening in your house, show you, give you the revelation of what is going on. And I've seen this with different things. I've had, I'm going to tell some more stories on this, but if you see some behavior that's not in line, if you just feel like, oh, this is not supposed to go this way, ask God to give you the insight. Like, God, what is it? Show me what is happening in my home, what is happening in this situation. It doesn't only have to be in your house, but just speak to the Lord and say, Lord, just give me the revelation. Let me see what is the spiritual dynamics of what is going on here, so that we can take authority over the things that need to be taken authority over, and we can rule and reign, and we can have peace and rest and loves, yeah, lots of loves. We have love in our homes, and that it could be a place of peace. So wanted to share that with you. Thanks for listening, and until the next video, thank you so much.